The most striking aspect of the film is the parallel between the fantasy world and the real world.
Just what you've been waiting for. Movies, TV, music, and more. Follow, subscribe, stay up to date. Episodes drop every other Monday. It's the man, watch that. It's the man, watch that. It's the man, watch that podcast.
Welcome to the Matt Watch That podcast, the place for reviews, rants, and randomness. I'm your host, Matt Seroski, filmmaker, film fan. Each episode, I'm going to watch a movie or TV pilot that I probably should have seen, but never got around to. It could be a recent favorite, critic's choice, or cult classic. To join in on the conversation, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or suggestions as to what I should see next, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Before we start, we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month on the podcast. Observed from September 15th to October 15th each year, it honors the diverse traditions, achievements, and influence of individuals with heritage from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America, and South America. The month-long celebration recognizes the significance of Hispanic culture in shaping the nation, while also acknowledging the ongoing struggles faced by these communities. The roots of Hispanic Heritage Month can be traced back to 1968, when President Lyndon B. Johnson first proclaimed National Hispanic Heritage Week. The timing of the week was strategic, as it coincided with the independence days of several Latin American countries, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, all of which celebrate their independence on September 15th. In 1988, after a campaign led by various Hispanic organizations and lawmakers, the week was expanded into a full month by President Ronald Reagan. The new designation, Hispanic Heritage Month, allowed for a more comprehensive celebration of Hispanic culture and history. Hispanic Heritage Month is an opportunity to reflect on the incredible contributions of Hispanic and Latino communities to American culture and history. From political leaders and labor activists to artists and scientists, the Hispanic community has played a significant role in shaping the United States. You might want to play back that statement a couple of times. Through the month of recognition, we not only honor the achievements of the past, but also raise awareness about the challenges faced by Hispanic Americans today, continuing the fight for a more inclusive and equitable future. Oh, and one where their due process rights aren't stripped. On to the main attraction. Each review will end with a ranking out of 5 stars. 1 star is skip it, 2 stars watch at your own risk, 3 stars standard fare, 4 stars worth checking out, and 5 stars must see. Now, if I give a title 5 stars, it doesn't mean I'm comparing it to Casablanca, Jaws, or Seinfeld. I rank titles based on other movies or TV series in that genre and at that time period. On this episode of the podcast, I'll be reviewing Pan's Labyrinth from 2006. It was written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, acclaimed filmmaker known for his distinctive blend of fantasy, horror, and complex dark fairy tales. His career began in Mexico with his feature film debut, Cronos, a unique take on the vampire mythos that established his signature visual style and fascination with creatures. He then made the move to Hollywood with the sci-fi horror film Mimic. But it was his return to Spanish-language cinema with The Devil's Backbone that solidified his reputation as a master storyteller. The dark fantasy, Pan's Labyrinth, is arguably the culmination of his early work, earning international critical acclaim and numerous awards for its stunning visuals, emotional depth, and intricate symbolism. Del Toro's later career saw him successfully navigate between big-budget blockbusters and smaller personal projects. He directed the action-packed Hellboy and its sequel, Hellboy 2: The Golden Army, bringing his unique creature designs and gothic aesthetic to the comic book genre. He also helmed the giant monster vs. robot spectacle Pacific Rim, and produced a number of films for other directors including Mama and Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. His career reached its zenith with The Shape of Water, a Cold War-era fairy tale about a mute woman who falls in love with an aquatic creature. This film won the Academy Award for Best Picture and Best Director, cementing his legacy as one of the most visionary and beloved directors of his generation. Del Toro's commitment to practical effects, his rich visual world building, and his empathetic approach to monstrous characters remains the hallmarks of his work. His most recent directorial effort, the stop-motion Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, earned him another Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, further showcasing his versatility and dedication to the art of storytelling. It stars Ivana Baquero as Ophelia, best known for her role as Eritrea in the Shannara Chronicles, Sergi Lopez as Captain Vidal, who appeared in Dirty Pretty Things and Mine Alone, and Maria Verdu as Mercedes, who was cast in the DCEU in The Flash as Nora Allen. This is something to look out for. During a screening of the film, Stephen King squirmed at the scene where the Pale Man chases Ophelia. How did you react? So let's jump into it. The film opens in Spain, 1944, during the aftermath of the Spanish Civil War, a time when fascism is on the rise under the regime of Francisco Franco. The story follows Ophelia, a 10-year-old girl who moves with her pregnant mother, Carmen, to a remote military outpost in the woods, commanded by her new stepfather, Captain Vidal, a cruel and brutal officer loyal to Franco's regime. Ophelia's mother is ill, and the family has relocated to this isolated place to escape the war, although it's clear that this is no safe haven. From the outset, we see Ophelia's vibrant imagination, which offers her an escape from the grim reality around her. She discovers a strange labyrinth in the woods near the outpost, and in it, she encounters a fairy who leads her to an ancient, mysterious creature, a faun, who appears to be the guardian of the labyrinth. The faun tells Ophelia that she is the reincarnation of a lost princess from the underworld. He reveals that she must complete 3 dangerous tasks in order to prove her worthiness to reclaim her throne and return to the magical realm. The faun gives her a book that contains the details of the tasks, though it's unclear what these tasks will entail. Despite her youth and innocence, Ophelia is determined to succeed, sensing that the fantastical world offers her a refuge from the harshness of her reality. Meanwhile, the oppressive nature of Captain Vidal's rule is shown through his interactions with the locals and his violent treatment of anyone who opposes him. He is cold, ruthless, and obsessed with the idea of maintaining order, especially as his focus shifts towards hunting down rebels in the surrounding area. The cruelty and dehumanizing behavior of Vidal contrasts sharply with the innocence and wonder of Ophelia's world. At the same time, the first hints of a rebellion are introduced. Mercedes, the housekeeper, is secretly helping the rebels and is an important ally to Ophelia and her mother. The film begins to weave together the tension of the real world, represented by Captain Vidal and the fascist soldiers, with Ophelia's burgeoning journey into the mythical realm, where she hopes to find something worth fighting for. Here's a quote without context. "My mother told me to be wary of fauns." Pan's Labyrinth is a masterful crafted dark fantasy film that uses a dual narrative to explore themes of innocence, disobedience, and the struggle against fascism. The most striking aspect of the film is the parallel between the fantasy world and the real world. Ophelia's journey through the labyrinth is not merely a whimsical escape, it's a direct rebellion of her grim reality. The monstrous creatures she encounters, like the Pale Man and the Faun, mirror the cruelty and the moral ambiguity of the humans around her. A central theme of the film is disobedience as a moral imperative. In both her worlds, Ophelia is told to follow the rules without question. In the real one, Vidal demands absolute obedience, punishing any form of dissent with extreme violence. In the fantasy one, the Faun sets strict rules for Ophelia's tasks, warning her of dire consequences if she fails to comply. Ophelia's ultimate act of heroism and sacrifice comes from her decision to disobey. Del Toro uses storytelling as a mechanism for survival and resistance. For Ophelia, the fairy tales are not just stories, they're a framework for understanding her world and finding the strength to resist it. She uses the logic of her books to navigate the labyrinth, and the stories provide a sense of hope and order in a chaotic, cruel reality. This is a deliberate choice by the filmmaker to show how art and imagination can be powerful tools against oppressive forces. While Pan's Labyrinth is a fairy tale, its historical backdrop is central to its meaning. It portrays the fascist ideology as sterile and inhuman. The fantasy elements serve to highlight the surreal horror of the war itself, showing how children, like Ophelia, perceive such events through the lens of their own imagination, and how a world of monsters can be more comprehensible than the cruelty of man. Now for a little trivial trivia. Guillermo del Toro wrote the English subtitles himself, having been unsatisfied with the way his previous films had been translated. Pan's Labyrinth was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. It was filmed on location in Spain. The cinematography was captured by Guillermo Navarro, whose filmography includes neo-western Desperado, superhero film Spawn, sci-fi adventures Athora, and fantasy comedy Night at the Museum. He won an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Cinematography for this movie. It was edited by Bernat Villaplana, who worked on biographical disaster film The Impossible, gothic romance Crimson Peak, and sci-fi sequel Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom. The score was composed by Javier Navarrete, who worked on the music for fantasy western The Warrior's Way, sword and sandal adventure The Wrath of the Titans, and vampire horror Byzantium. He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Pictures, original score of this movie. The runtime is 2 hours. It had a budget of $14 million and grossed $83 million at the box office. It was nominated for 6 Oscars at the 2007 Academy Awards, winning 3 for art direction, cinematography, and writing. On the Ski Index, I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you've seen Pan's Labyrinth and have opinions on the movie, let me know what you think using the hashtag #MattWatchThat. Moving right along, each episode, I'm going to post clips that I think people should watch. It could be movie trailers, music videos, interviews, or something completely random. Search for my YouTube page and there'll be a playlist called Matt Watch That Playback. Carlos Santana, one of the most iconic and innovative guitarists in rock history, has transcended genres and become synonymous with a fusion of Latin, rock, jazz, blues, and world music. With his signature sound, blending fiery guitar solos with Latin percussion, Santana has continually pushed musical boundaries and influenced generations of musicians. In 1966, Carlos formed the Santana Blues Band, which would eventually evolve into the band Santana. They initially performed a mix of Latin-inspired rock and blues, which caught the attention of the San Francisco music community. The band's self-titled album marked the beginning of a legendary career, showcasing Santana's distinctive guitar sound and the band's ability to blend Latin rhythms with psychedelic rock. It featured the hit Evil Ways, which peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. The lead vocals were performed by Greg Raleigh, who would join Journey as keyboardist in 1973. In 1969, Santana took a massive leap into the spotlight when they performed at Woodstock. The band's set was a defining moment in rock history, cementing Santana's place as a musical force. A year later, they released the pivotal album, Abraxas, featuring Black Magic Woman, a cover of the Fleetwood Mac tune, as well as Oye Como Va, the Tito Puente classic. The album hit number 1 on the Billboard 200 and is widely regarded as one of the greatest albums of all time. Their third album, Santana 3, continued their commercial success with tracks like No One to Depend On and Everybody's Everything, solidifying the band's identity. It's considered the last album with the original core lineup of Santana's early years. By the 1980s, Santana's commercial success began to wane as the band's music became more polished and radio-friendly. Albums like Zebop and Shango explored a more mainstream sound, which alienated some of their core fans. In 1998, Santana was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and after a 7-year hiatus, they released Supernatural, an album that would forever redefine his career. This album embraced a more accessible sound, merging Santana's signature Latin rock style with contemporary pop and jazz. It became a massive success, driven by the hit single Smooth, featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. It dominated the charts, remaining at number 1 for 12 consecutive weeks, and winning Grammy Awards for Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best Pop Collaboration with Vocals. The album went on to sell over 30 million copies worldwide, solidifying Santana's legacy and introducing his music to a new generation of fans. The success of Supernatural led Santana to collaborate with a diverse range of artists, including Lauryn Hill, Dave Matthews, and Everlast, showcasing his ability to blend genres and musical styles. Since the success of Supernatural, Santana has continued to release albums, tour internationally, and collaborate with new artists. Albums like Shaman, All That I Am, and Guitar Heaven, while not as commercially successful as Supernatural, continue to demonstrate Santana's mastery as a guitarist and his continued willingness to innovate. In 2016, Carlos released Santana 4, which reunited the original members of Santana, paid homage to the band's roots, while continuing to explore new creative avenues. Carlos Santana's journey is one of musical evolution, resilience, and constant reinvention. From the groundbreaking performance at Woodstock to his genre-defying albums and his ability to stay relevant across decades, Santana remains a force in the music world. His career not only shaped Latin rock, but also defined a unique blend of cultural sounds that transcended borders and eras. I've selected a couple of clips of Santana's biggest tunes. They're all available in the Matt Watch That playback playlist on YouTube. Check it out. Now it's time for the recommendation. Yes, that's the word recommendation with Matt in the middle. I'm going to end each podcast with my own recommendation of a movie or TV series. Today I'm talking about I Love Lucy. It tells the story of Lucy Ricardo, an aspiring actress who lives in New York City with her husband, a Cuban band leader at the Tropicana nightclub. Lucy is an energetic, well-meaning, but often bumbling housewife who dreams of becoming a star, though her plans for fame frequently lead to hilarious and chaotic situations. Ricky, a charismatic and sometimes frustrated band leader, tries to keep Lucy's antics under control while dealing with the demands of his nightclub career. The show also features their best friends and landlords, Fred and Ethel Mertz, who are frequently caught up in Lucy's schemes. Fred and Ethel's witty exchanges with Lucy and Ricky add another layer of humor and charm to the series. It stars Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, William Frawley, and Vivian Vance. It also features guest appearances by John Wayne, Van Johnson, Harpo Marx, Bob Hope, and Eve Arden. It was based on the novels by Isabel Scott Rorick and the radio program My Favorite Husband. And as much as I Love Lucy was iconic, it was just as iconic and groundbreaking behind the scenes. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz were pioneers in television, and I Love Lucy stands as a testament to their groundbreaking innovations, both in terms of production techniques and cultural impact. Before I Love Lucy, most TV shows were performed live and were broadcast in a single take. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz wanted to film the show like a feature film, with multiple takes to capture the best performance, while still retaining the energy of a live performance. They pioneered the use of a live audience for sitcoms, which created a natural energy and engagement that wasn't present in most of the other shows at the time. The audience's laughter was recorded and added to the final broadcast, giving the show an authentic, vibrant feel. One of the most important innovations I Love Lucy introduced was the multi-camera setup, which had never been used in sitcoms before. This technique involved using several cameras to film a scene from different angles simultaneously. While this method had been used in film, it was a game changer for television production. This method has become the standard for most TV sitcoms. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz made the innovative decision to film I Love Lucy on 35mm film, similar to how movies were made. This allowed the show to be edited, retaken, and perfected before airing, ensuring the highest production quality. It also allowed the show to be rebroadcast in syndication, something that had never been possible for live broadcasts. The concept of syndication, where television shows are sold to other networks or stations after the original run, was made possible by the decision to film I Love Lucy. This foresight was largely driven by Desi Arnaz, who wanted to ensure the show's longevity. Desi and Lucy's decision to create a show that could be syndicated not only increased their revenue, but also helped establish the model for how television shows could have a second life through reruns. The decision was also made out of necessity. While Lucille Ball was pregnant, Desi Arnaz wanted to keep the I Love Lucy brand in the public's mind. So when they couldn't film episodes, they told the network to air reruns, which proved just as popular the second time around. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz broke new ground with their real-life marriage by featuring a mixed-race couple on television. At a time when racial segregation was still pervasive in America, it was a bold and controversial move to have a Cuban-American husband and a white American wife as the central couple in a mainstream TV show. Despite some initial pushback from sponsors and the public, their marriage became an important milestone in the history of American television and helped normalize interracial relationships in the media. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz's vision and ingenuity with I Love Lucy transformed television production in ways that are still felt today. Their ability to combine humor, heart, and technical expertise created one of the most enduring and influential television shows in history, leaving an indelible mark on the industry and popular culture. I Love Lucy was on for 6 seasons, 180 episodes from 1951 to 1957. That's all for this edition of Matt Watch That. Thanks for listening to me babble. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Matt Seroski. You can subscribe to my YouTube page where I'll post videos and clips from the show. If you have any opinions on what I've discussed, or suggestions as to what movie or TV pilot I should see, use the hashtag MattWatchThat on social. Head over to mattseroski.com for all the latest news and updates, and come back next time for the reviews, rants, and randomness. In the Shanara, I'm not gonna get this. He also helmed the giant monster vs. robot spectacle, Pank. Don't even know where I was going with that.